Dear students, we are going to discuss another topic from the derivatives of the integument, which is called as feeder. This is the fifth derivative that we are going to discuss today. Feathers are present in the birds. They cover the body of the birds, and feathers are not present in any other animal group. Feathers, they are dry, they are non-living. They are cornified product of stratum corneum of epidermis. So this thing you have learnt in previous derivatives also, in scales, that they are developed from the epidermis scales are developed from the cornification of the stratum corneum. Then you have also learnt the digital cornifications. So it's in a similar way the feathers also developed by the cornification of the stratum corneum. They are very light in weight but very strong. They are having the elasticity. They are elastic. You can stretch them, and then they are waterproof also. They don't let easily water to reach to the skin of the birds. Feathers have different colors because different types of pigments are present in them. Feathers make the body streamlined. Streamlined means a shape that lowers the friction drag between a fluid like air and water and an object moving through that fluid. So if means if an animal or the object is moving through air or water, there is always an opposite force called friction which drag the animal behind. That means it will not easily allow the animal to break through the medium and move very fast. So in order to overcome this problem, in order to lower the friction, animals have developed streamlined body in which their anterior and the posterior end are tapering, and both the whole of the surface of the body is slightly cylindrical, more or less cylindrical. So that means they don't have any flat surface against the force of the friction, because the flat surface will hinder their easy movement through the medium. So similar fashion you may observe in the fishes also, and our aeroplane is also having the similar shape, so that we may not get the good force of the friction. In order to overcome that, the body is streamlined. So if you pluck the feathers from the body of these birds, their body is not streamlined. These are the feathers present on the body which make the body streamlined. Then the feathers protect the body. They also conserve the heat of the body, and they make the broad surface of the wings and the tail in order to help it to fly it easily. Now feathers have similar mode of development as I have already discussed, as it was in the scales, that is cornification of the stratum corneum. Now feathers are also molted as we have seen in the scales, and they are replaced seasonally. So the arrangement or distribution of feathers on the body is called pterygosis, because on the body you will not have similar type of feathers on whole of the body. The wings will have different type of feather, the rest of the body will have different type of feathers. So arrangement of feathers on the body is called as pterygosis. And if the birds are flightless, like from the Ratiaceae family, like these are the birds which are flightless, in them the feathers are distributed evenly on the body, because the uneven distribution of the feathers is required only for a good adaptation to the flight, as the flight feathers are different as compared to the feathers on the rest of the body, whereas in these birds they require only the feathers to insulate their body, so they don't have much function for a much different function. So their feathers on the body are of uniform pattern. The carinati, those birds which have the keel or carina is this portion. It is basically on the lower side of the breastbone. This area is developed so in order to provide a good surface for the flight muscles, which in turn help in the flight of the birds. So those birds which are having this keel they are the carinati, you can say. In them the feathers are arranged in distinct patches called pterygli. So whole of the body may not have the feathers. So the patches of the feathers you may observe on the body called pterygli, and there are spaces in between which are not having feathers called ateria. There are 6 types of feathers: quill or the flight feathers, contour feather or pinny, filoplume feathers also called hair feather or pin feather, down feather called plumules, powder down feather, and then the rectal bristles. Let us look at the typical structure of the feather. Once we will study the typical structure of feather, then we will able to differentiate the difference between various types of the feather. This is the shape of a typical feather. A typical feather has a central long axis and the veins present on its 2 sides. The central axis has a portion which is inserted into the skin. This portion is hollow from inside. It is tube like. This is called as calamus or quill, and it has a portion which project above the skin, which is called as rachis or shaft. So this is the this rachis or shaft is the distal portion of the axis. It is stiff, solid. It is not hollow from inside, and it is filled from inside with the help of the pith cells. Then if you look at these veins, they are 2 in number, 1 vein on one side or 1 vein on other side. So these veins have several parallel hair-like features called the barbs, thread-like features you can also say. These are also called rami. So these rami in turn have the barbules also, the oblique filaments barbules, which interlock with one another. So barbules of one barb interlock with other. Let us look at this picture. Here you can see that this is the rachis. These are the barbs that are coming out, the thick one, and if you closely look at them, these thick barbs has the oblique filaments called the barbules. The barbules of the proximal and the distal barbs, they interlock with one another. So by interlocking, they form a very continuous surface which helps in flight also. Now in addition to it, the 2 veins, they are having a structure like a web, because if you look closely, they are just like the web. So they have the inner web and the outer web, or you can say one vein you can call the outer vein and other vein you can call the inner vein. Outer vein is the vein when the feathers are closed on the body, they are not spread apart. Then the vein, the portion of the vein, the side of the vein which is away from the body is called the outer web, and the vein which is near to the body is called the inner web. Now this long rachis has a central groove in it present on the ventral side called ventral umbilical groove. Then this rachis from the calamus or the quill are separated at this juncture, where they are having a very small tufts of small feathers called the hyporachis or the after shaft. So basically this is the portion below which this calamus is present within the skin, above it is projecting outside the body, and at this junction you are having the hyporachis and the outer shaft. This calamus is having two openings also. One is the inferior and other is the superior umbilicus. The inferior umbilicus receives nutrition through the papilla of the dermis. Dermis is, you know, the skin layer, and the papilla of dermis gives the nutrition through this pore into this developing feeder and the blood supply also. The superior umbilicus is present on the ventral side of this rachis. This was the typical structure of a feeder, and now we shall look at the different types of feeder. Now the first type of feeder, the quill or flight feeder, is basically a typical feeder having the structure which I have already discussed. Now the quill feeders are typical feeder, but they are of three types. Number one, remiges. Remiges are the feeders which are present on the wings, so they are called the wing feeders also, or the wing remiges. They are called pinions also. Now if you look at them, they are having two unequal veins. This is the difference between the quill feeder or the typical feeder of the this wing and the typical feeder on the tail. The tail will have the equal halves of the vein, whereas the remiges or the wing feeders will have the unequal veins on it. Rectrices is the other type of feeder which is present on the tail. So this B is the rectrix, you can say. Singular is rectrix and the plural is rectrices. They have the equal halves of the vein. These one, that is the remiges, they help in flight, and during the flight, if the bird want to have the break or stop the flight, then this tail feeder, the rectrices, help them to break their flight. Then coverts feeders are exactly like the typical feeders, or you can say the quill feeders, but they are just small in size. They are called the coverts. They are present at the base of remiges and rectrices, so they fill the area in between. That means in between the remiges and in between the rectrices, the area is filled over by similar type of feeder, but these feeders are very small. They are called the covered feeder. So by filling the area, they oppose the buoyancy of air. Then you are having the contour feeder, the second type of feeder. Now you look at the contour feeder, they generally cover the whole of the body. They have a very short calamus, a not so long but a short shaft or the rachis, and then the veins are projecting well beyond the anterior end of the rachis also. Their after shafts are very well developed, they are large also, and their barbs, they are not so interlocked with one another firmly. They are very loosely interlocked with one another, so they can easily be isolated. They provide smooth surface to the body, that is contour feeder. They provide smooth surface to the body and give shape and make good heat conserving layer on the body of the birds. Then you are having third type of feeder, phylloplium feeder, called the hair feeder or the pin feeder. Now if you look at their structure, they are having a very small calamus and a very long rachis, but the barbs are not present on whole of the length of the rachis. They are present only at the anterior end. They are very widely apart from one another, and their barbules are very small, so their barbs are not well interlocked with one another. They are very delicate type of feeders. They don't their function is not known still. They are not present continuously. They are sparsely distributed over the body with a distance from one another. You can observe them after plucking the rest of the feathers from the body of the bird, that the hair-like feathers may be observed on the body of the bird. They have a, okay, I have already discussed it. Now let us go for the fourth one, that is the dawn feather, which is called the plumule also. So these are small feathers, very soft feathers. They are woolly feathers. They differ from contour feather in the absence of rachis. They don't have the rachis. All the barbs, they are very long. They are just arising from the upper end of the umbilicus, the calamus. So the barbs are long, but their barbules are very small. They don't interlock one barb with the other. So they are having the rudimentary type of barbule, you can say. Now they form these dawn feathers. They are present in the newly hatched birds. They are not present in the adult birds. Then powder dawn feather. Powder dawn feathers are the feathers which may be present in a aggregated small patches on the body of some birds, like at the pectoral region from where the wings arise, the pelvic region from where the legs arise. In some birds like the bittern and the heron, at these portion you may observe yellowish patches. These yellowish patches are basically found by the powder dawn feather. Similarly, in the parrot, roller and the immature demergier, you may also observe scattered tract and tufts of these powder dawn feather. Now they are basically simply dawn feather. If you look closely, dawn feather, they don't look much different from the powder dawn feather. Powder dawn feather, they are so called because in the dawn feather the barbs were continuously and coming out from the upper end of the calamus, and they were large enough. But in the powder dawn feather, once the barbs start coming out, they break, and a powder type of a powder like things, or you can say the powder like feature is developed over there. So you may observe by touching it, it will exactly like a powder, like the talcum powder. So what is the function of this? This powdery thing that developed because of the breaking of the barbs at this position keeps these feathers smooth. It keeps the feather waterproof. So you know the powder is also having the similar function of your when you put the talcum powder on your body. So it is having the similar function that you try to keep the moist away. So by this you are keeping your body dry. So similar, the birds are also having this type of structure, that it is basically the dawn feather which not develop the barbs, but the barbs but the barbs break and form the powder on the body. Then the last and the sixth type of feather, that is the rectal bristles. You may observe them well. They are present here. They are fine hair like stiff structure present just posterior to the beak in this bird. They are exactly like the filoplume feather, but they have the long rachis and the small calamus, but the difference is that the barbs are not present at the anterior end, they are present at the posterior end of the rachis. So this is what the 6 types of feathers are there. This type of feathers are present in flycatcher, goat sucker and whippoorwill. Thanks. This is all about the various types of the feathers in case of the birds.